Thursday. Thursday!
It looks so good, you guys. I knew it would because anything from God is good, but it's even better than what I imagined. It did take quite a while, you know, to go through every book. Like, I didn't read it word for word. I just skimmed it, I guess. I like knew what was okay to skip over. I was looking for the heart of these books, the meat, as my mom would say it. When we're doing Bible studies, she'll refer to like the really important parts as like the meat, right? Like filet mignon. And I think I did that for all of them. They're all incredible verses. I already started sharing them on my Snapchat story. I posted the first one from Genesis, and I will be doing that every day until I get through them all. Praise Jesus. He is the one that gave me the idea to do this, and he's the one that was there by my side, helped me follow through with it, you know. Not that I ever really wanted to give up and just forget about it, but there were times when I just didn't feel like doing it, and he kind of just like gently was like, no, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fine, you'll see. And I was like, oh, well, you were right. Of course you were right. You're always right. He gave me all the motivation and the support, and now I can feel him celebrating with me, so thank you guys for watching that. If you're still watching this, thank you, basically. So my plans for today, I'm going on a hike with my friend at 10, and then later today at 7, I have my gathering for my young adult group, that's what we call it. We meet up every Thursday night, usually at the church for whatever sermon or message or whatever we're going to hear, but during the summer they actually like to do these things called swing-bys, where instead of meeting at the church, we'll just choose like a place outdoors to meet. So we actually got to do the 4th of July swing by, and we did, you know, sparklers and all that. We had food, and it was a chill time. It was fun. This week's swing by, we're just meeting at a park, and we're gonna like have a barbecue, I guess. We're gonna have some great food and play games, and it's always a fun time with them. They're all really nice people, very down to earth, and you can tell that they love the Lord, like, genuinely. So I'm really glad I found this group this year. So I just got back from my hike. Boy, do I have a story to tell you. Allow me to set the scene. The place that I went to hike with my friend, it's kind of up in the hills, so you have to go up. Very windy path, kind of scary, but I did it. I get to the parking lot, and my phone doesn't have cell service. Yeah, I am trying everything to get service. I restarted my phone multiple times, put it on airplane mode, and then took it off because for whatever reason that helps get like reconnected or whatever. Nothing. I decide, okay, the guy that let me in wasn't that far up the road. I'm just gonna walk up there, ask him if he has a phone so I can call my friend and let her know what's up, because she had texted me that she was gonna be there soon, and I couldn't get a hold of her to let her know that I was there. I walk up the road like 10 minutes, it's really hot, and once I get to his place, he says, oh yeah, like, I only have a cell phone, so I'm in the same boat as you, like, I don't have service. But basically, you have two options. You can either go back down there and find a payphone, because they have payphones, you know, scattered across the park. It's a pretty big park. Or you can just go back up the hill to where service is regained, and I'll just let you back in, you know, when you come back since you already paid. So I'm like, well, I really don't want to, like, go back down there just to get in my car and then go back up, right? Like, you know, wasting time here. I'm just going to go back down and try to find a payphone and hope that she isn't here yet, because otherwise that wouldn't help the issue, because she wouldn't be able to answer her phone because she wouldn't get the call from no service. Well, praise the Lord. She got there, I think, a little bit before me. She had just parked like in a different section, and so she had gotten out of the car and she was starting to be concerned because, you know, I wasn't answering her text and she was looking for me. Yeah, she ended up finding me because she walked around long enough to where eventually we ended up crossing paths, and so she was like, Cora! And I'm like, Lauren? Oh, thank God! You led us to each other! Everything was fine after that. It's just, I spent like 15, 20 minutes trying to get my phone to work, trying to find a way to get a hold of her, and in the heat, you know, that just was not fun. We had a lot of good talks, you know, walked a little bit by the water, and then we just sat on a bench and talked some more. She's a very sweet girl. I met her only a few months ago through my my young adult ministry group. She loves talking about the Lord, and I just love that she's so genuine, you know, in her faith and just who she is as a person. I don't think that I talked about how my YouTube withdrawals are going. It's still fine, you know, I'm not like tweaking or anything. It's just there is one thing that I didn't mention to you guys. I am a maladaptive daydreamer. The average person just daydreams, right? They may like do it while they're bored, you know, at work, or sometimes when we're driving we kind of go into autopilot where we're just kind of like driving but not really thinking about the fact that we're driving, you know what I mean? And so your mind kind of goes other places. It daydreams, right? Like everyone daydreams. But maladaptive daydreamers, they take it to a whole other level where they have all these different like worlds in their mind with these stories and these characters that they kind of become attached to almost. Like, I feel like a lot of writers are maladaptive daydreamers because, you know, look at how complex Harry Potter is, or Percy Jackson, Shadowhunters, like all of those like fantasy stories that are like so in depth, and it's like, gosh, how do they come up with like such, you know, realistic characters that you feel like you really know them? Probably because of maladaptive daydreaming. When I was a kid, I called it Cora Planet, and I never even knew about maladaptive daydreaming as a term until like 3 years ago. The reason why it's called maladaptive though is because there is kind of a more troubling side to it. The fact that it is kind of a coping mechanism for people who have been through trauma. Now for me, you know, I haven't really been through like a whole lot of trauma, thankfully. I just think that like the main thing that caused me to really start doing this, even though I've always done it since I was a kid, what really kicked it into gear was COVID. I was stuck at home, I had to do college online, it was miserable. And I remember just being out in the backyard one day, hating my life. You know, I've always been a very imaginative person, being into reading, writing. Like, I wanted to go do stuff that I wanted to read and I wanted to write, not the stuff that they were giving me through college that was so boring and like just felt pointless. I decided to just take a 10-minute breather, go walk around the backyard and listen to some music. And while I did this, you know, these scenarios were coming to mind that I just kind of like let myself entertain. And over the course of the next few years, it became my coping mechanism for any time that I was stressed, anxious, you name it. And it got to the point where I would go out there like 3 times a day to just pace. So I would be pacing like this with my headphones on, listening to music. And sometimes the scenarios that I would be living through in my head would be so strong that you could see my facial expression change. Or I would say something and you'd be like, what? And I'd be like, oh, nothing. Sorry about that. My mom and my aunt came home from their errand running, so I had to stop filming for a minute. But basically what I was saying is that I feel like my pacing coping mechanism just was like borderline unhealthy because of how much I was doing it. So one of the things that I'm hoping will come out of this whole little going without YouTube experiment is that being forced to not be able to do that, like not having access to music and therefore not being able to pace and like just be in my own head, it'll force me to be out of my head, you know, deal with whatever stress or anxiety I may have directly. I think it's okay in moderation. So I'm gonna try maybe like just doing it on the weekends, right? Like all the stress from this week, just like go walk it out for a little bit, right? I don't want to be doing it like every day anymore, like 3 times a day. That has been a little weird, not being able to pace and have my music to walk and imagine myself in this little world that I've created, but it's also been a good thing because I feel like I'm having fuller days. They're going by slower. I feel like it's more slow paced, and that's something that I've been wanting for a long time because, you know, as you get older, naturally, like, time starts to feel like it goes by faster and faster, and I think it's just because we're too busy, or we're too wrapped up in our own worries and stuff. So if you just, like, make the effort to just relax, enjoy the day, you know, Even if you're having somewhat of a crappy day, like I kind of was at first this morning, then you'll find that things slow down and you can actually live a fuller life. With that being said, I think I'm gonna go throw in a load of laundry, do some work for my dad, watch another episode of Panic, and after that I will meet you guys back here to start my final puzzle. This is what the last puzzle's gonna look like. It's unique because, unlike the other 3 puzzles, this one isn't based on like a specific movie, but just the Disney characters, right? You got Mickey, Minnie, Daisy. Mickey and Minnie are like walking the red carpet together and their friends are cheering them on, and it's really cute. It looks like they're going to a premiere or something for the latest Disney movie. Disney had a very big part in my childhood, like I know it did for many people, so the nostalgia is real. I always like to start with the edge pieces because I think that's how pretty much everyone does puzzles, right? A lot of people were telling me that I should Mod Podge them when I'm done, you know, so I can hang them up like pictures. But I personally don't like to do that because the fun of a puzzle is in making the puzzle, right? It's cool to see the picture once it's all done, but then the puzzle's done, so there's nothing left to do, and you just move on to the next one. So I always like to take them apart because, for one thing, it's kind of weirdly satisfying to like break up the pieces and watch the picture basically be undone, but also because, you know, in case I want to get rid of the puzzle someday, I like to pass it on so that other people can do it, because if you were to Mod Podge it, it would just be stuck like that forever. If I like the picture, I can just put this in a frame. Plus, I take pictures of my puzzles when I'm done so that I can always look back on it and be like, yeah, I did that. I think I found all the edge pieces and sorted them out by color so that it would be easier for me to be like, okay, so this is all on the top, this is all on the side. Let's start putting it together.
I'm gonna do you puzzle right on the table. As nasty as you want to be. Hey, Schmidt, what do you think it's gonna look like?
What do I think it's going to look like?
Yeah, the puzzle.
Winston, it's on the box. The picture's on the box. It's a Japanese garden. Terrible at puzzles. Worst I've ever seen by a mile. What do you, fly vision? Look at this puzzle. It's ages 6 and up. You are up, Winston. You are way up.
You want to say that to my face?
This is a corner piece, Winston. How do you not see that? What are you, blind? I'm so sorry. Actually, a blind man could feel the smooth edges of a corner piece.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the outline. If I finish this puzzle before I finish this massive video project, then I will show you guys what it looks like when it's all done.